Hello everyone and welcome to BlueSpan's Dota 2 stream. Hello Lulu, hello Devraj. How's your day going, guys? Where's my battle pass trophy thing? It's going okay. Day just started, but it's going alright. Hey, you woke up at a normal time, Devraj, it seems. Hello Nicholas, hello Layken. Layken. Ken Lay, am I right? Hello Die. Your classes and job. Oh, good on you. All right, Ken, you want some advice on women? You want some advice on women, man? I can give you advice. You want some? Hi, Sebastian. Hello, Wayne. Good day, everyone. All right, Ken. How old are you, man? Pretty sure you're a teenager, right? I'm pretty confident you're a teenager from the way that you act. Do you have a six-pack? Hey, Payback. Yeah, my day's just getting started, man. I only just woke up like not too long ago. Okay, so you're a few months away from being a teenager. Gotcha. Do you have a six-pack? No? How tall are you? I mean, you don't have to tell me these if you don't want to. Girls around that age will jump on you if you have a six-pack. Yeah. I don't know if you're handsome or not, man, but it doesn't matter. .5'11" and you're Filipino, so you're a fucking gigantic person for a Filipino, huh? Okay, so I would assume that you probably want to be around oh hell, let's say 65 kilograms, 65 to 70 kilograms. You're sort of handsome, okay, but you don't have a six-pack. Okay, anyways, so you want to get your weight range around 65 to 70 kilograms, or fuck it, let's call it around 140 pounds, okay? Well, let's just get that out of the way. Now I read studies, okay? Hi, VJ. So, there are personality factors like confidence, kindness, patience, intelligence, those kind of things. And those are all very important for having a partner, for sure. There's no denying that. But by far the biggest attribute that brings people who date together is actually appearance. Now, I don't want to sound like some kind of what's that word? A shallow asshole, but it's just a fact. It's just like appearance is up here. And then everything is down here. Like, and then nothing comes even close. Okay? Now, so just don't be a lazy asshole. And just don't not care about what you wear. And keep yourself fit. Okay? You can control those things about yourself. So just get it out of the way. Like, yeah, it's real. No. By far, the most important thing is like you see some of you guys might see like let's say as an example, okay, this really nice girl. She's smart. She's patient. But if she were fat and ugly, you know, gone. Don't care. All right. I just straight up would not even think about it. Yeah, anyway, so as Nicholas is saying, yeah, you need confidence. Now, younger guys, they lack confidence. That's the truth. Anyways, I don't know enough about you to say anything about your personality, but I will say some very obvious and basic things, so bear with me. It is better to be a nice guy than to be an asshole. Fact. It is better to be patient than impatient. It is better to be smart than it is to be stupid. It is better to be sensitive than insensitive. Okay? So there are generally good traits that anyone can have, and then there are bad traits. And you want to work on yourself, and you want to work on your personality to the best that you can. So, I don't know if you hang out with, like, gangster kids or bitches and assholes, but don't. Fill yourself with people that are good in life. Like, people who are kind, people who do volunteer work. Actually, those people are fan-fucking-tastic. Such kind people. Yeah. Fill your community with those kind of people. Anyways. And now this is going to sound like a hippie-ish, new age hipster advice, but meditate. Now, this is not some kind of magical hocus pocus. Nah, it doesn't work for me. No, it fucking works. Scientifically, it works. There's no denying it. Now, with meditation, it's hard to see the benefits, because it's not like, you know, when you buy a new fucking phone, you have a new phone in front of you, right? With meditation, there are benefits to it that you cannot measure or see for a while, but it works. It helps you calm down, it relieves your stress, it makes you more confident, it helps improve your mental clarity, and that makes you a better person, straight up. That's why you come here, Dee. Oh yeah? Advice on how to pick up chicks? But yeah, anyways, there are a whole bunch of apps that you can download on Google Play Store and what the fuck's that iPhone one? The App Store? Yeah, just download meditation app. Follow its routine. Fucking do it. Now, you know, you're first, like, I don't know, 3 to 5 times you meditate, you're like, I don't know, I feel kind of good, but I just don't see anything tangible. It's not about tangible things. It's about mental clarity and clearness and calmness. Those are kind of things that are attractive in a partner. If you meet a fucking girl or a guy and you're all like, you know, like they don't like you. I'm playing all rank because I just woke up, guys. Read The Secret of the Golden Flower. Oh, thanks for the suggestion, Clyde. I'm gonna look into that because honestly, meditation's a good deal. Maz, you can rewind this and watch it. Anyways, it's about how to pick up women. Actually, mostly self-improvement. Actually, hi, I did. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, anyway, so meditating makes you a happier person. It's a fact, okay? Happiness draws people in, you know what I mean? Like, if you're a happy person, people will want to be around you. But if you're all the time, you're negative, you're whining, you're complaining, I don't like this. Like that fucking guy yesterday in my game. What was it? He was a Faces Void. Oh, blah, blah, blah. This lane is fucking done. Blah, blah, blah. It's over, guys. Oh, blah, 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 right? People don't like those kind of people. They don't. It's just like, they're like energy vampires. They just take away your energy, right? Whereas, like, if you're a happy person, you have all this positive, good vibes as a result of exercise and meditation, people will like you. You got a six-pack, girls will love you even more. Bam! Easiest girl ever. Yeah, the pessimist. No room for women. You should ask Lulu-chan how I met her. How to join Discord? There you go. Morning, Tetra. If you want to see the time, you type in !time. Where the fuck is my bot? I don't know. Maybe it'll show up at some point. Hey, yeah. The Discord link is in the description of stream. Here's a coffee.
5 seconds left. Okay, your pick now.
Hey, Vukwook, thanks, man. Hey, Mel.
10 seconds.
Goth girl Michelle. Hey, this is Dota. Ain't no time for women. Let's add her. Just joking. Yeah, Tetra, you single? If you're single and you need some advice, fucking rewind this shit and watch it again. 100% serious. No safe lane carry. Okay. Blue Span can do that.
10 seconds.
Nah, we're playing safe lane carry.
5 seconds left.
You have a feeling it's a 50-year-old guy?
Remember, the goal is to
Should we ask her? Hey, are you a 50-year-old guy? Bleh. Morty.
10 seconds.
You first.
5 seconds.
Pick, motherfucker. You're gonna play support. Alchemist. Wait a minute. A single Pringle, huh? A single Pringle. But Pringles are like lighter in color, Mel. Oh shit! Just joking, buddy. Where's my... Oh, there it is. Your girlfriend told you last week you're not single anymore? Oh, so she... Not proposed, but asked to date you? Is what you're implying? Or she got back to you, or something like that, huh? Single chocolate bar? You're the single Kit Kat, Oh, a second, I gotta think about how to play. Gonna play some Juggernaut.
Okay, your pick now. You know what
Go
to
for
do.
Pia because Earthshaker's in the enemy team. Well, actually, no, here's the sound effect for you. Hi, Kwong. Long time no see. You know, I talked to my parents the other day, guys, about my Vietnam trip. You know, because I went with two of my friends who are both Vietnamese. They're from America. They've lived most of their lives in America. I've lived most of my life in Canada. And we're all Vietnamese. And we went to Vietnam thinking, bro, sis, Vietnam, gonna have the best Vietnamese food. It's gonna be the fucking shit. It's gonna be the bomb. Gabby, I'm gonna kick you out of my stream. Anyways, we were all so fucking disappointed, man. Like, it was so bad. And yeah, I was telling my parents that, and they're like, they just laughed at me. They thought that I would have the best Vietnamese food in Vietnam. And they're like, nah. Best food in Vietnam? California. California, and Vancouver. Yeah, that is what they said. Yeah, in fact, they didn't. They recommend that I didn't go to Vietnam. By the way, my top heroes are carry heroes. 61% win rate, 400 games with Spectre, 60% win rate, 300 games with Ursa, 58% with Sven, Night Stalker, Viper, Shadow Fiend, Zeus, Tra. Okay, man. Okay, Gabby.
We bring our blade.
Fuck this. Little pumpkin plants.
30 seconds.
Feed me that shit.
Showtime.
Oh, easy 16 gold.
Digging spots out there. What are we waiting for?
That's cute, Tetra.
A fine idea.
Dun 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 dun. Yo, man, go for the other one.
The time.
He's got boots.
First blood. But the earth has seen so much of it before. We fight. Yes.
Good trade.
So you say. It's an honor.
Wah wah.
On it. No less than we deserve.
Wah wah.
Yeah. Swiftly now.
Man, before you do that, tell me that shit, bro.
Our blade hungers. The dragon's gaze finds you. No retreat.
So interesting.
We fight. Onward. Strength learn from your mistakes. Already.
Interesting.
Yes.
Hey, next time you combo him, we can kill.
You cannot
I bought boots. Go, go.
already. Your death approaches.
Nice.
You should be honored.
Fuck, I missed a lot.
Yes. A bit beneath us. Agree. Yes.
Maybe you should go battle for. Oh, they have an anti-mage, huh?
Onward. We're under attack.
Hi, Wan. How you doing, man? Denied him right in front of this tower. When the fuck did he get over there? Did anyone see how? Did he use TP to get it there?
Run if you can.
Bam.
It's an honor.
Bam. Yo, man, I just woke up and my last is so good right now. You wanna fucking fight me, bro?
Yeah.
Cause I don't.
Rest, little one.
I needed a chainmail, so this fucking cunt will do less damage when he right clicks me. Oh.
Killing spree.
Yeah, almost got that chainmail.
Of course.
Got it.
Swiftly now.
How much, Matt? So this is 110 times 5, so that's 550. So it should do like what, 380 damage after reductions?
It's almost time.
Alright, 380 damage after reductions.
Very well.
337 move speed, huh? Yeah, fuck you, butterfly boy.
Stand and fight. As expected. We go. Yes.
Yeah, ready when you are. You guys ready for this kill? Watch this. Oh, that was a good TP. Never mind, no kill.
We bring our blade.
Hi, ready.
As you wish.
Killing spree!
As you wish. Our power increases.
Gotcha.
Don't mind if I do.
A fine
Stratofiend, do you want this?
No thanks.
Okay.
runs.
If your mid-tower could talk, it'd be pretty mad at you.
Bitch is back.
Under attack.
Yo, man, are you gonna? What the fuck are you doing?
To battle.
Ah. He was typing and shit.
Time to die. Attack.
Yeah, I might just get Battle Fury, dude.
At last.
Actually, I don't know, Battle Fury?
So you say.
Okay.
Forward.
Okay.
Very well. Your death approaches.
Bottom right.
Die!
Face your death.
I panicked. I think I used Clarity by mistake. Wrong button.
That as tribute. Yes. Very well. Not yet.
Happy Hump Day?
Yeah.
What day is that? Thanks, Danny. Yeah, we might get this Battle Fury. We'll see.
No retreat.
Or I could just go like pushing build right away. I don't know. We'll see.
Swiftly.
Nah, let's just go Battle Fury. It's fine.
Die.
Dominate!
Time to die. Fall before us. Our blade hungers. You cannot hide.
The fuck? Okay, man. Earthshaker and Witch Doctor are bottom now.
To battle. It is not time. Already moving.
Dice putting up a barricade.
Run as you can. We fight.
I think Ashley made up his own holiday, guys. And then he's surprised that no one knows about it.
Yeah. Yes. time would come. At last.
Look, the enemy's attacking your middle tower. Don't let him do that!
I think he made that YouTube video, guys. He's trying to make. He created a YouTube video to justify his own holiday.
Yes.
Yep.
We bring our blade.
Yeah. No, I'm on to you. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know exactly what's going on here.
Yes.
Hey, look at you! Knocking down that bottom tower!
Yeah. The dragon's gaze finds you. It's an honor. We're ready.
The fuck is your problem?
You won't feel a thing. What a waste. All before us.
Cask, meat, jug.
As you wish.
10-minute runes are up.
Onward.
Bounty, bounty.
Swiftly now.
You fucking shit. Still grabbed it.
It's an honor. Bounty. We go. Ours.
Wait, he's going Shadow Blade? The hell?
A fine idea.
Dire structures are fortified. Radiant structures are fortified.
Does anyone want bottom? I'm done with bottom. My fucking clarity, bitch.
Mega kill!
Come get healed.
Your bottom tower is under attack.
As you wish.
Ooh, your bottom tower's kind of bad.
Die.
You better pop on over to your bottom tower. Rally the troops and get out.
So I'm just done.
Dire structures are fortified.
Did we just lose our bottom tower? Oh, he did get the bottom tower.
Heads up, we're back.
So fucking confident.
Not yet.
Unstoppable!
We're not ready. Agreed.
Hey, you can run. I can distract him. I can spin TP maybe. Unless this guy man avoids me.
Yes.
Stormster just done this game?
Onward.
He's 0-4.
We bring our blade.
They're heading to you from top.
Stand and fight. At
Oh,
last.
oops.
Okay.
The fuck is your problem?
Enemy's middle tower just bit the dust.
As you wish. It is not time.
And why doesn't this guy coconut?
A fine.
Whatever, I just buy Battle Fury, dude. Hi, Sebastian. Hi, Charisma.
So you say.
Give me my Battle Fury.
Yes.
Are you running from cops? Shit! It's the cops! It's the cops, motherfucker! Run! Go! 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 I'm out of here, folks. Hi, hippies.
Battle fury.
Hide the weed.
Uh-huh. We go.
Wicked set!
Easy.
You cannot hide. To battle. Run if you can.
Dire structures are fortified.
Swiftly now.
Is that gonna hit the healing ward?
Of course. Yes.
I am using the golden cloak trigger set, man. What are you talking about?
We become more as one. We bring our blade.
Oh, there's a storm spirit over here. There's a storm behind you.
On it.
Ah, you're dead.
As you wish. We're not ready. Yes. Bring us another. We go.
Let's go this way.
Already moving. Forward. It is not time.
You're fucking dead, bro. The fuck? Problem, dude. Oh, okay. I see what's going on here. I see what's going on here.
We're not ready.
I have healing word in 5 seconds.
Not yet. On it. Agreed.
Damn it. That's okay.
Yes.
Hey, we don't have any catch.
Yes. So you say. We're not ready. Yeah. What coward run? It's almost time.
One day I'll get my Yasha.
Very well.
Holy shit. Oh my god, oh wow, dude. Their combo is so perfect. Oh man. Yasha. If I had my Yasha, I'll survive that. Gives me like a 2 armor, you know? There's still a bounty in here, huh?
Juggernaut returns. We fight. Yes. A fine idea.
He runs up to that creep, uses a Midas, says sorry. Wow, this guy's Canadian. Canadian as fuck.
knock down your middle tower.
Time to die. Not yet. Very well. We fight. Onward. As you wish.
Pyramid.
It is not time. Onward. The dragon's gate finds you. It is not time. Yeah. We bring our blade. Yes.
We're all missing. 20-minute runes.
Not yet. Our blade hungers.
Dominating.
As you We're not ready.
Gotcha.
You fucking shit! Wow.
Will not stand.
I should have just spin TP, dude. I wasn't sure if anti-mage was around to stop my spin TP. Yo, JT. Glad you like Juggernaut, Epic King. E, dude. Wow.
Till the last building falls. So fight.
At last. Already moving.
Never mind.
It is better. Stand and fight. Of course. It's an honor. A fine idea. Our blade hungers.
Coming mid. Ah, everyone's dead already.
There's a fine line between bravery and stupidity.
There you go.
We're not ready.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Battle call.
Oh yeah.
Each blow sharpens our blade.
I think I can cut down twice as many trees, guys.
Dire structures are fortified.
Yes.
Pyramid, pyramid.
We bring our
I'd like to keep my mana, thanks.
It is not time. The only outcome. Yeah. We're not ready. Yes. Manta style. To battle.
He's just trying to get a reaction from you. Oh god, dude. I didn't really want to chase. Man, I'm tired of that shit. Yeah, Mjolnir's not very good against anti-mage. Keep it simple. Got him. 25 minute runes. 25 minute runes. That taunt was great.
The bottom tower is under attack.
I'm not sure if I want Scotty, to be honest with you.
Hey, welcome back.
No retreat.
Come on, sprites.
Yes. Of course. It is not time. Agreed. As you wish.
Yeah, maybe we get Scotty.
Middle tower's under
And
attack.
survive the bullshit.
Oh, there better be something important going on.
As you wish. Arcane mysteries. The dragon's gate finds you.
Heal us.
Why do you do this, man?
Run up to cat.
Well, Sean's dead. Man, him and that aegis. Glad I never messed up that bad.
As you wish.
Tower's under attack.
Onward.
Oh boy.
Fortified constructions. Pretty good move if you ask me. The top tower needs some help. What, not your job or something? Enemy's middle tower just turned into a pile of rocks. Our tower has fallen.
It's an honor. A fine idea. We become more as one.
Your bottom tower is under attack. Dig in and defend that sucker.
Yes.
Okay.
As you wish. Bring us another. Not yet. On it. Not yet.
I gotta buy this item real quick.
To battle.
Oh, we're a little far from you.
Already moving. We're not
320 Aegis. Thanks, Lulu.
the dragon shield. Swiftly.
There's 2 top. Oh my god, I should have just pushed top. Oh boy. Didn't even send my illusions in the right direction.
Death approaches.
I'll go farming. Good.
Agreed. Yeah. We'll take that as tribute. We go.
Your middle tower is under attack.
So you say.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Not upon fortune. Yeah.
Where are you going?
Of course. Not yet. Very well.
Nature attend us.
Already moving. Our blade hungers.
Your middle tower has been denied.
Battle calls. We're not
Fire's doing that glowy thing. Nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Are you even watching your top tower?
Okay.
Radiant calls us to fortification. A couple of friends.
He has Basher?
We're not ready.
Jesus Christ.
Tower is under attack.
Oh my god. Oh my god. When did he get Basher?
Don't worry, you are not contagious.
Oh, I thought I could just spin TP, but nope.
Killing spree.
Okay. Yeah, game's getting hard now. I think the Shadow Fiend kind of gave up. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna farm. I'm like, okay. Get him, Shadow Fiend. Oh, oh.
You cannot hide. We're not ready. Already moving.
Ooh, kill him.
Not yet. Run if you can. It is not time. Yeah. Of course. Swiftly now.
His team's behind him.
It is not time. Stand and fight. We're not ready. What coward runs?
Hi Young. Hi Matt. Yeah, I'm not really sure what item I should be buying, to be quite honest with you. Basher might be the best. Yeah, I think Basher. Yeah, we go Basher, we lock down the Storm, we lock down the Anti-Mage. Bada bing, bada boom. Bash him back. Lincolns. Lincoln makes sense against Anti-Mage. Hi, David. Why do I bring Quelling Blade? Have you ever heard of Sprout Teasy? Why didn't I buy Battle Fury or Butterfly? Because I'm not so scared of their right clicks. I'm more scared. I was more scared of Storm's Remnants and Earthshaker Echo Slam. Anyways, at some point, Anti-Mage or Storm have to come close to me, right? If they don't ever get close to me, then I guess I'm hitting their barracks, right?
3, 2, 1, let's go!
Come on! Anyways, in the first 30 minutes, I wasn't really scared of their right clicks because Anti-Mage didn't have farm, and these four, they don't right click that much. But now Anti-Mage is farmed and he can right click, so Butterfly is still a good item, but not as good item as Abyssal. Orchid is definitely not better than Basher. Think about it this way, David. Anti-Mage has Manta Style, which counters Orchid, right? You'd agree with that, right?
If your mid tower could talk,
But what counters Abyssal Blade? Go ahead. Go ahead and think about it. What counters Abyssal Blade? What if Storm buys Yules or BKB?
trying to knock down your middle tower.
Run if you can.
Yeah, you guys need to think a little bit more about your... Oh fuck, I got the two wrong trees. Yeah, no, Orchid is 100% the wrong item purchase. They're going on Shadow Fiend.
You better push on over to your bottom tower.
Not yet.
This is one of the things in the back.
Bounty.
Your bottom tower is under attack.
We're not ready.
Right.
We fight. Of course. We go.
Healing power.
A bit beneath. Our power
Oh
increases.
boy, we're just getting picked off at this point. Please don't die.
What coward runs? It is not time. Already moving.
Tower is under attack.
Oh boy.
Hello, top tower. Goodbye, top tower. Your middle tower is under attack.
What the fuck, man?
We're not ready.
Almost GG.
And over here we have your middle tower. Not being in there no more.
Here I am.
Stand and fight.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Not
Your middle
yet.
tower's under attack.
Uh-huh.
Man, we were winning, dude.
As you wish.
The middle barracks are under attack.
As you wish.
Here comes the blame game.
Your middle barracks is falling.
Blame game.
Your top shrine is under attack.
Fine idea. Basher. Time to die.
Your top shrine is under attack.
You guys are super good. Super good sport.
It's getting toxic. Dun dun dun.
We go. Battle call. It is not time. It's an honor.
There you go.
We're not ready. Fall before us. So you say. It is not time. We're not ready.
Fuck, man.
Such sorcery shall not prevail. I'm over here.
Where's the sound of my sound effects? Did we just fucking lose this game?
Our power increases pace.
Can I get a fucking bash?
Mega kill.
GG. I keep attacking that storm and he doesn't get bashed.
No less than we deserve. So you say.
Oh man.
Ooh, your bottom tower.
It's getting toxic.
Kinda bad. Your bottom tower just took a dirt nap.
Not yet.
Your bottom shrine is under attack. Killing spree. Your bottom shrine is under attack.
At last.
Your bottom shrine is falling.
What the? Did I just get hit over here? No.
To battle.
Oh man, maybe I should sell this recipe. Oh no, it's too late.
Probably. Yes. Very well.
Jesus titty fucking Christ.
Your bottom tower has fallen.
What can I even do about this, man? I bash you.
Someone ought to build a barricade or something. Bad news about your bottom barracks.
We lost, dude.
Barracks has fallen.
Yeah, nah, to be honest, I think he did fine. Can I fucking...
Double kill.
Where's Shadow Fiend? Is Shadow Fiend's top? Oh my god.
Attack.
Your top tower has fallen.
Can I stop getting fucking bashed?
My sprites are with us.
Ancient is under attack.
You guys want to know a secret?
Your ancient is under attack. He ain't lying.
This game's actually unranked.
Radiant structures are fortified. Your ancient is under attack.
I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, Nick. Ashley, yes. So you can cut down 2 trees. You did a lot, Enchantress. A lot. Yeah, that's just warm up. Ooh, ooh. Alright, let's play some real ranked. Oh god, I'm tired of playing hard support. Look, we had like a 75% chance to win. Yeah, we threw that pretty hard. You got 9 lose streak today? You played 9 games today and lost them all? Damn, man, that's... Damn. First game, Fanky. Yeah, so anyways, this game, I went Battle Fury because I was concerned of the Nature's Prophet. I was just really farmed in the beginning, like really farmed. So I didn't even bother getting Wraith Band, and I didn't fight that many heroes, so I didn't buy Magic Wand, okay? So just follow me so far. Didn't even bother getting Wraith Band, didn't get Magic Wand because I barely fought any heroes. So I was like, okay. I'm gonna buy a second Quelling Blade. Because like, well, it just gives you 24 damage, right? So Battle Fury and Quelling Blade, they stack. So if you have Battle Fury and you buy Quelling Blade, you still get the 24 damage from Quelling Blade. And sometimes when I get sprouted by Nature's Prophet, I actually cut down the wrong tree. Sometimes it happens, especially when you're already inside a bunch of trees and then he puts the sprout around you. You can actually cut down the wrong tree. So I was like, well, for 200 gold, which I can sell later for 100 back, I can cut 2 trees and I get plus 24 damage to farm even faster. I knew that Storm, there was a very good chance that Storm would get Orchid at some point, or Nature's Prophet would get Orchid, right? He did, in fact. I was like, okay, well, gonna need Manta Style for that. And you can split push with it. Yep. So I bought Manta Style, and then this fucking Storm Spirit Earthshaker, they kept comboing me perfectly, dude. Like, I would get hit by a Fissure out of fucking nowhere, and you can't react to that, right? There is no reaction time. Like, if he's standing in the trees and he fissures you, you're stunned. There's nothing he can do about it, right? He fissures you, it's instantaneous. He jumps on you, he enchant totems, he echo slams, storm poles, and he enchant totems again, right? So I was like, oh shit. I was gonna go butterflies to do some deeps, but these guys are just comboing me so well. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're gonna tank up Bot Scotty. And then Anti-Mage started getting really farmed. I was gonna get Butterfly, but then I was like, okay, well shit. Anti-Mage and Storm Spirit, they're so elusive and they get away so easily, right? Okay, well, fuck, now we need to lock them down. So then I tried to buy Abyssal Blade, and that was the game. Yeah, let's read some of these comments. Anyways, Ashley, no, I often just use both of them at the same time, so. Divine 2 is 5.2k. Only Gaben knows that. You forgot to like? Come on, man. Those are very, very different. If enemy got a rat/high damage pick, LC2 underrated. Yeah, I agree with that. Should have finished the game earlier with the standard build Manta Mjolnir. If you think this game was lost because of item picks or item choices, you're very wrong. Also, for the record, Mjolnir really sucks against Anti-Mage. And it's not like Storm's gonna get right next to me, you know, it'll let me right click him anyways, right? You got plus 600 MMR. Good on you. Your draft problem only, no tank. Well, I was pretty tanky. Hi, Vineet. Hi, Blend. Is there a set strategy to kind of win against an anti-mage for Jug? Not particularly. I mean, you're kind of ignoring 8 other heroes, right? Yeah, Mel is a tough game. Oh well. At least I have my cafe. All right, it looks like we are playing position 4.
Banter, best hero. Wait, ain't that kind of cheap? Yeah, and effective.
Yes, sir, Mel.
Seconds left.
A single chocolate bar, sir. Thanks, Racho. Hi, Chris.
Your pick. This is where you win or lose. No pressure.
Yeah, playing Air Spirit. Oh shit, the eye tracker. Oh. Seems like I'm watching ASMR. You chug that drink? Do you like it for Kersey? Would I like some chocolate? Yeah, baby. Give me that doo-doo. What happened in the last game? We lost.
What? Huh? Remember, the goal is to have fun. Yeah, who am I kidding?
Is Blitz my cousin? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would Blitz be my cousin? Yeah. I can play Magnus or Spirit for donation. Would you like to make that donation? Huh?
Okay, your pick now. You know what to do.
Bounty Hunter Invoker El Clasico. You're farming in the jungle.
This is where you win or lose.
You're farming in the jungle, casually, peacefully, happily. You're just hitting creeps, and then suddenly, Sunstrike, BH whacks you with Janata, and then he shurikens you for extra money, and then you're dead. You are opposites, and he left? How is Blitz my opposite? And he left YouTube, so therefore he is my cousin? What the fuck kind of logic is that?
Smoke weed every day.
Pudge Mirana? What kind of combo is that? Thanks, Lulu. $79.54 is Lich. It's quite the talented Lich player. I have 3 siblings, Matt. Too poor to donate? Almaz, too poor? You know what you should do?
Tonight
You should get rich. Have you considered getting rich?
It's in
Since you command it,
It should be easier to arrow this game. 100% arrows accuracy. Yeah, I have 6 setups like Like maybe fire. Oh, it's 1.5 seconds. That's not bad. Maybe we punch dismember.
We got this one in the bag.
Thanks, buddy.
Get a flag.
Yes.
Wait a
To
minute,
the
I
battle.
have. Stop being poor. Stop it. Just stop being poor. Work harder. You're poor because you're lazy.
Of course.
Stop being lazy.
Good idea.
Dun, dun,
As you
dun, 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 dun.
30 seconds to battle. Lots to do before the battle starts. So get
On
cracking.
the prowl.
Better walk away from the ogre.
Good idea. Leap forward.
It's ready for all the marbles. If marbles were at all valuable.
Look how the prey scatters before us. Forward by bounds.
Not gonna get rich by watching streams and donating to streamers. No. That's absolutely right, but you have to be rich first to be rich.
On track.
I'll help you.
Agreed.
Holy fuck. Got that clarity.
What do you buy?
This is too hard.
Ride.
Yeah, I'll come in a sec.
On track.
Invoker's gonna buy a magic stick in a second. I'll snipe the courier. Can you fucking buy the magic stick, bitch? Yeah, I'll come help you soon. Just tough it out. Why doesn't this guy have magic stick anyways? Oh, there's a courier. You're about to get money, okay, babe? Bum 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 bum.
Good idea.
Bam! I got it.
This courier is dead. I wonder what idiot got it killed.
Told you. Just gotta be patient.
Since you command it. Of course. Yes.
Yep.
Leap.
That's how you play Marana. Is courier worth 2 minutes? Yeah, like everyone gets like 150 gold. He's dead. Everyone gets like 150 gold, right? So that's like, what, 750 gold? That's a fucking big deal. Come in.
Forward by bounds. Agreed. Good idea.
I foresaw your death the moment you were born.
Forward.
Don't bash me, bro.
You have learned nothing. As you will.
I don't want to die, bro. I almost have arrow.
We ride.
Woo.
Or flying.
It all works out in the end. Do you think BH has his own sentry around here?
Agreed.
BH is top.
Okay.
Killing spree.
Forward. To the back.
Man, I just wanted to buy some boots. Okay, be right back.
On the prowl.
I hope I hit it.
Perfect.
Back up, back up, back. What do I want to buy?
Good idea.
Okay, let's buy one of these, and one of these, and one of these.
Forward by bounds.
5 minutes runes almost up. Hey Pudge, can you get their rune?
It was not meant.
The prize is mine.
Nice.
As you will it.
Where are you, Void? Where are you?
Good idea. We ride.
Oh shit!
Cower before us.
Death's cold embrace.
Did I block that hook?
Of course.
Was that me? Did I do that?
For victory.
I don't know, man.
Such power.
Only level 4. Oh shit.
Stop. On track.
There's a triple stack here.
Since you command it.
Bop, 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 bop.
For the hunt. Yes.
What items do I get next?
Yes.
This guy's missing.
Since you command it.
Boom, baby!
Ain't get called into fortification. They're trying to knock down your middle tower. Alley the
On the prowl.
Boom, baby! Got him!
Trespasser.
Bop, 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 bop. Bop, 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 bop.
Agreed.
Bop, 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 bop. Bop, 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 bop. Oh yeah, 2 couriers. I don't have any mana push. I have arrow on 15. I don't know what to. Yeah, I'll body block. Okay, just run. Just run.
Good idea.
Okay, I'm good.
Sorry.
Forward, pet.
Oh, that was a lot of mangoes. Yeah, let's do it.
Good idea.
Hi, Pixie.
Forward by bound. Ha! Starfall.
Oh, don't want to block that shit.
There's a triple
The
stack
battle.
here.
Yeah, take this real quick.
An easy shot.
Bump, 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 bump. I do not have arrow.
As you will it.
Kind of want to go for Maelstrom since I'm so fucking farmed.
On track.
I can bit bot? What does that even mean? Oh, bait?
On track.
Okay.
Good idea. Perfect.
killing spree.
Nice. Hey Pudge, we can like you can dismember him in a sec, okay? Oh wait, this is too soon. Oh, actually no. At towards the very end, you can still dismember him.
Forward by bounds.
Die! Nice! Oh, that efficiency. Good job, buddy. God, I'm on a fucking roll, boys and girls.
Forward.
Look, the enemy's attacking your middle tower. Don't let
To
him
the
do that.
battle.
Your
Even.
middle tower's under attack.
Sure, you want a book?
For the hunt.
Grabbing bottom runes.
Agree. The prize is mine. As you will.
Selfish.
Okay, I don't really have much.
Since you command it.
Nah, it's kind of a waste of a TP. Hey Mel, I like your idea of getting Bassy, to be honest.
Idea. Die, Mongo. Yes.
Pudge, I have Moonlight again in a bit. Oh, Invoker, I mean, holy shit! Yo! Yo, Matt. Sorry, I was looking mid. Zeus, like, just died, Invoker. Wait on courier. Wait on courier. Wait, just wait, just wait.
On the prowl. Ha! Forward, pet.
No arrow, no arrow. Zeus is coming bottom.
Forward by bounds.
Bounty going bottom.
If your mid tower could talk,
To the battle.
it'd be pretty mad at you. Dire's putting up a barricade.
There we go.
On track.
Oh my god, I almost died. Zeus, save me.
Since you command it.
I really hope Bounty Hunter's not coming in this direction, because that would just ruin my day. No! They have an Invoker! I forgot about it! I forgot about it! Oh, why didn't you guys remind me about Invoker?
Unstoppable! Killing spree!
Oh man.
It's all the same to me.
Of course. We rise.
Damn it, Mel, don't always assume that I know things. I'm old as shit.
Fair warning. Your death has arrived.
Got your clarity.
Tuck your tail and ride, Matt.
Look at that! Your middle tower just got denied!
For the hunt. Leap forward. Since you
They saw the ogre, right? He just fucking walked right into vision.
Oh boy.
attack.
Scarcely worth my notice.
To the battle.
Nah, I'm not even gonna bother. Oh, he's alive. Yeah, good thing I didn't bother. 15-minute runs.
Whimper, dogs.
Mine!
Selfish.
Radiant fortified your structures. Pretty good move if you ask me.
Forward, pet. Not a penny wasted. On the prowl. Yes. As you will it.
Got him. I think you're okay. Yeah, they don't have detection.
Mega kill!
Forward by
Oh,
bound.
never mind.
Good idea.
Fuck! Missed that last hit.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Okay.
Good idea.
Why is there so much fighting, dude?
Unstoppable!
As you will.
Yo, I'm not there.
Yeah, you're not.
To the battle.
I'm getting hit by Sunstrike, dude. Sunstrike and fucking Fisher!
Just another notch on my pummel. Radiant structures are fortified. Are you even watching your top tower?
What is Bloodseeker gonna go? Oh, he's not getting Radiance? Is Radiance good? Yeah, I think he does need the BKB.
Again, we ride.
It ain't over till the last building falls. So fight!
Since you command it. Forward by bounds. Run like the dogs you are.
Eco shaker.
Perfect. Stop.
Back off.
Shadows, take us. On track.
Chrono, 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 chrono!
Run like the dogs you are.
You better pop on over to your tower. Dominate! Mega kill!
Woo!
Kill!
Nice.
Tower's under attack.
That was great. It's great. Great.
Forward. Agreed. An easy shot. Leap forward. Of course. Star-Crossed.
30 seconds buildings.
Yes.
Fuck you. You fucking annoying shit.
We ride. Forward by bounds. Ah. Ah.
For the twin.
Price is mine. On track. Good idea.
This fucking annoying shit's back.
Star.
Here, here.
To the
Fucking
back.
Sunstreak. Okay, I'm good. See you later.
Walker's here too. I think we're back up.
Why would I go Manta style? You think I respect this bounty hunter so much that I would buy Manta style? You know what I would rather do? I'd rather just buy BKB and deal with the Invoker and the Earthshaker and the Lich. Hey, Didya, what are you so happy about?
Command it.
You got admission for FCPS? Orthopedics?
Leap forward.
Orthopedics is, that's a foot doctor, isn't it? What is FCPS, though?
You better poof on over to your bottom tower.
On the prowl.
Nah, I don't. I want to be a carry, guys.
TP off. Forward TP.
Evil curs. Stars.
Oh, careful.
Of course. Shadow.
I'm cutting this Invoker off from behind.
Forward.
Nah, he's just gonna run.
Agreed.
Oh man,
Yes.
there's a Lich somewhere around here.
Lich.
Fair warning.
Careful, this is too deep. And they have Chrono, I'm pretty sure.
Good idea. As you will.
Bone Doctor. Okay. I'm actually getting damage, so I don't know if we really need the Radiance. Yeah, I think you should be tanky, because Bloodseeker is questionably tanky.
To the battle.
They have loads of physical damage? Nah.
For that one.
They're all fucking missing.
Careful.
On the prowl. Since you command it. Forward, pet.
Forward TP top. Do you want this farm, Zeus?
Agreed.
Are we defending top?
Easy shot.
Oh. You fucking cut! Wow! He's dead. He's gonna pay for that.
Unstoppable!
549 for me, but 466 for Invoker?
structures are fortified.
Manta style won't save you out of that. By the way, the aura on Ring of Basilius is so unimportant unless you're actually pushing a tower. Or in the laning phase. Doesn't matter.
Void as a DD.
Should I get Orchid?
Need the pudge.
No, well, I gotta finish this Mjolnir first. I'm already committed to it. But I might get it later. Coming.
Void is there too. It's all for
Coming. Oh shit. Oh man, that damn creep. Hey, 25-minute runes are almost up. Maybe... do they have Chrono? Maybe we can get this one. I think they probably have sentries around this area. They should.
We ride.
Okay.
The prize is mine.
if it comes. Oh, never mind.
As you will it. Forward by bounds. On track.
Bounty is invading.
Of course. Star.
Leap attack speed. Anyways, I need BKB for sure, and it did. Yeah, it's.
So I got tracked when I was standing.
So it did. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could use Ring of Basilius. I mean, every time I'm near a creep wave, it might save that creep wave 100 or 200 HP, but it's quite insignificant. But yeah, if you're pushing towers, then yeah, you really want it on. But yeah, but in general, you should probably keep it on. I can't even turn it on right now.
Okay, where were we?
Pause.
That's true. We're all dead inside.
Heads up, we're back.
Let's just wait until he respawns.
Leap forward.
Oh man.
Did Yules yet?
Ah.
The Walker is really
Since
deadly.
you command it.
I think he sees me. Yeah. Minus 5-second arrow will be good. You already got Mjolnir. I mean, they're both good. 80 attack speed? Like, don't disrespect 80 attack speed, dude. How many hyperstones is that? That's like 1.5 hyperstones. Anyways, we're gonna go power trips, and then BKB.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
BK.
Forward by bounds.
Do we win this?
Can you ask me for a favor? Depends on what it is. And also,
Ooh, your bottom tower, it's
yeah, just ask, man. Whatever.
Not a penny wasted. Leap forward.
Am I still in Europe? Nope.
Whimper, dogs.
I have a smoke.
To the battle. Good idea.
Can you just type in exclamation mark points, Hafiz?
Of course. Good event.
Oh shit!
On the prowl. Luck.
I'm coming. Pudge hooked me.
As you will it.
Oh shit.
Can I fucking click on shit?
I'm under attack. Tuck your tail and ride, Matt.
Oh, what?
Oh my god. An APKP, bad.
The bottom tower is under attack.
You have 12 hours watch time. There you go.
Tower has fallen.
I can't believe the Earthshaker lived. Were you able to play World of Warcraft last night, Andrew? Yeah, actually, Battle.net services were down. I actually logged into Battle.net, Andrew, and then like almost immediately I got a message that said, "You have been disconnected from Blizzard services." And I'm like, okay, I'm still running around the world. But I'm like, did I forget to pay my subscription? Pretty sure it hasn't been a month yet.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I think I'm like level... I just hit level 23 now, Andrew. And I'm finished most of the quests in Stone Talon. Patience and manners, thank you. I hate playing WoW solo. We need to head to Arathi? Okay. What do you think about, what's that purple forest? You know, right above the Barrens? Oh fuck, I can't remember the name.
Okay, wait. Your middle tower's under attack. Dominate.
Oh boy.
Your middle tower.
Ashenville, yes, Ashenville.
I don't even know where to start with you.
Oh yeah, I can't actually play today. Play tomorrow. Tower protection 5. That's a lot of armor. It's like a chainmail. Sounds good, Andrew. No, I plan to spend a good 3 to 4 hours, maybe even more playing.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Cringe, you cur.
All right, that's good because they do not want to let us pause at all.
On the prowl.
They actually just gonna do it? No, we know.
For the hunt. We ride perfect union.
It's just stream WoW Classic. I did that like a month ago. I think I had like what 20, 30 viewers. Hey, try not to fight top if they're all there.
The prize is mine.
Selfish.
On track.
Oh shit.
The Volker's really good, huh?
Yes.
How'd that happen? What the?
What the?
That happened?
Forward star.
No, you fucking cunt!
Agreed.
I don't know if I'm playing too greedy.
Leap forward.
Oh shit.
Oh, they're kind of late.
I got him. Out there. Wait, they didn't finish Roshan? Oh my god. Come back.
Since you command.
Grab it, quick. Grab it. Holy shit, we made it on time. Good job, Pudge. That was game winning.
As you will it.
Holy fuck, game-winning hook.
Run like the dogs you are.
Coming. Oh, he's got a chrono. You fucking shit. I hit nothing!
Tuck your tail and run.
Oh!
Blood calls to blood.
How can you get out of this? Oh shit, don't get bashed, don't get... Yeah, that was a really optimistic tip. He's dead.
Dominate!
Oh god. There's more than 2 buybacks, isn't it? 1 buyback. Kara. That's 2 buyback. Void buyback. That was pretty big. This is bad. This is great. This is great. I don't know why you think it's bad. And we have Glyph. Zeus can defend easy. And they don't have Chrono. Here, don't die, don't die, don't die.
Mid-tower could talk. It'd be pretty mad. Dire structures are fortified.
Yeah, just wait for me to be up.
Radiant structures are fortified.
It's okay to lose this tower. I don't think they can take the racks though.
Your job or something? Barracks is falling. Hope you don't pay for lessons or nothing.
Nicely done.
Fuck, no more leap charges.
Leap forward.
So they don't have... Okay. He has Lincoln's. He has Lincoln's, okay? No, we needed to do an arc lightning and then a dismember. Oh, I don't have leap charges.
We ride. To the battle.
I have I almost have Moonlight for this 35-minute run.
Good idea. Good idea. On the prowl.
I think you get that one.
Yellow light dawn.
I almost have BKB.
Forward, pet.
And we need Dragonlance after that, actually.
Forward by bound. Evil curs. As you will.
Hey, I don't have my item and Bloodseeker doesn't have his item quite yet.
Top tower needs some help.
Oh, I don't have TP score. Yeah, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna grab my BKB right now.
Your top tower is under attack. Oh, there better be something important going on.
Hey, Pudge, get away. Invoker's coming at you. Invoker's running at you.
Oh, wait, it's already gone.
To the battle. On the prowl. We ride.
Killing spree!
Leap forward. Of course.
Oh man.
Such strength shall be ours. Agreed.
Don't defend that.
The bottom tower is under attack.
Forward by bounds.
Your bottom tower is under attack.
Good idea.
What do you mean your bottom tower's gone?
Since you command it.
Bye bye.
Coming. Oh shit.
Ooh, your bottom tower's kind of bad.
That's his BKB.
I was late to this party. They're going top. They're going top. They should go top anyways. Hey, Lich is already gone.
It's not time yet. Allies disappear.
Oh man, it's too late to this fucking party. Zeus, do you have your ult? I don't have religion, dude. Stop asking these ridiculous questions. Hi, Yukio. Thanks, buddy.
Fair warning, your head has arrived.
Does anyone want my dust? Why do you want dust? You got a magic stick. There you go. Have some dust.
On the prowl.
Let's back off. We don't have Zeus.
On track.
Ruins in 30.
Careful bottom. They're probably playing around bottom.
Of course. We ride.
Contract.
Do they have chrono?
Yeah, I think so.
And is this area warded? Does anyone know? Yo, this I think this Earthshake will be here in a sec.
BKB is coming, man. I don't know. But
The prize is mine.
There's a regen over here.
Since you command it. Toward victory.
Hey, Zeus, maybe you should eat the tome. Get that 25.
Forward,
Is Roshan time up? Which is almost 25. Here, I'll arrow it, I guess. I'll arrow.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, it just hit a creep. Oops. Dude, oh man, I wanted to leap out. Oh god, dude. We're not powerful enough. Holy shit. Blink out and TP, Zeus. You might have to TP. Man, I shouldn't have got stuck in that chrono. I was so worried about this pudge. This is almost 25. I think they're doing Roshan, so maybe you hit 25 real quick. There you go. Now this is really bad. That's right.
Shrine is under attack. Roshan has fallen to the Radiant.
You know, some people are just uneducated, you know? Afif. I think a lot of little mistakes were made. I got caught in the chrono. Hey Zeus, don't die, okay? You gotta get out. I think we just give up these racks. We don't have a choice. Yeah, no, we just give it up. Blue Spanism. There you go.
Oh, you ought to be
I need to land some good arrows is what I need to do.
Your bottom shrine is under attack.
Fair warning, your death has arrived.
Your bottom shrine is under attack.
Power before us.
Your bottom shrine has fallen. And this is why we do these things.
Good idea. As you will it. Cringe you cur.
Radiant structures are
That void has a double damage.
Attack.
You better pop on over to your bottom tower.
To the back.
The bottom tower just took a dirt nap.
Forward, pet.
Wicked sick.
Oh my god, I got deleted.
Again. We rise. On track.
God damn it, fucking fast shit.
I'm not perfect.
Yes.
Double kill.
Anyone have poster?
Since you command. Scatter while you can. Of course.
Are you fucking kidding me? Sunstrike? He has eggs. He doesn't give a shit, dude. Yeah, I think we lost. Yeah, I really don't know how we can come back from this game unless I just buy this Divine Rapier. Eondis? Nah. We need to do something really desperate. No, I'm not gonna buy Eondis just for this void. Well, actually, you know, it's still a good item, but I don't know. We need something really desperate. Anyways, Rage Gaming. Just remember this, okay? You can't do whatever you want. There are some things that you do that will piss people off, and you have to accept that. Uh-oh, we lost. Why don't you just apologize rather than defend yourself? Oh, I'm just so innocent. Oh, I'm just... Dude, just apologize. Just be like, oh, well, I was insensitive. Then you're good. Hi, BJ. Hello, Dmas. Welcome back. Stream's going great for Dota. About to lose another game. That Void's gonna have another Chrono soon.
Run like the dog you are. Your top shrine is under attack. Your top shrine has fallen. We ride.
I don't wanna die. I don't wanna die. I don't wanna die. I think Void's looking for me.
Good idea. Then.
Oh no, he's right there.
As you will it.
Attack. Forward my bow.
Agree.
I got the Invoker!
My way. Killing spree. Double kill.
Once he buys back, we go back.
Forward. Radiant synergies are fortified.
Good idea.
Spoil that. Run like the dogs you are. Leap forward.
Oh, care, Bloodseeker.
On the prowl.
This one's mine.
On track.
Should I buy Divine Rapier, guys? Do you think we're desperate?
To the battle.
No, do it. I'm inclined to. Can we get some more votes here?
Scatter while you can.
Sorry, Ogre, what did you say?
I said there's not even megas yet.
Since you command it.
Yet. Alright, I got the relic, I'm going it. That's not even real.
Of course.
Oh, I thought it was real.
Tuck your tail and run, mutt. Evil curse.
Just a little bit more farm.
Good idea.
Okay, good.
Since you command it. Whimper, dogs. We ride.
I got the invoker! I got her! It's my reaper! I don't wanna die! I'm scared, mommy. I'm scared.
Forward, pet. As you will it.
Yeah, I can't die to avoid. The only thing I need to do this game is not get chronoed.
To the battle.
Get the Aegis.
Okay.
On the prowl. An easy shot.
Towards bottom. Yeah.
Forward, bye-bye.
You just. Okay.
Agreed.
Mama didn't raise no fucking pussy.
The prize is mine.
Whoa, Pudge is hella deep.
On track.
No void, he's cancelled.
Okay, no void. Okay.
Power.
Maybe we can get mid. He can't get here too fast.
Bottom barracks are under attack.
Leap forward.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
Don't get close.
Oh, Zeus is gonna get a.
I wonder if this might show up.
Don't get chrono.
I have Aegis, so.
Void is here.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
9 seconds.
Can we back real quick? I'm scared, mommy. I'm scared. Run.
On track.
Oh fuck! There's a DD over there.
They're chasing.
The middle tower is under attack.
Has arrived.
Your middle tower's under attack.
Yes. Prize is mine.
Take shrine.
I'm open all night.
Okay, let's get rid of this Basilius.
We ride.
Okay. I can survive Chrono. Oh boy, so much pressure.
Forward, pet. Since you command it.
Oh, that's real. Uh oh. That's might be GG there. Oh god. GG. Not worth it. Are you sure? I think it might have been worth it there. That fight might have been worth it. Yeah. Don't blame me guys, I'm just position 4, okay?
Hey, your bottom barracks need help. Your bottom barracks has fallen. Oh, I see. Letting them think you helped. Bad news about your barracks. Oh, come on! You're digging your own grave. Your middle tower has fallen.
That was a 3-hit.
Radiant's courier has been killed. We got one less middle tower now, by the way. Dire structures are fortified. Radiant victory!
Nice try. What a fucking positive team.
How can this be?
Yeah, very positive team. I like this team a lot. Yeah, I'm just a support, guys. Wah wah. Yeah, no, like we're all so positive even after that loss. It's rare, you know, in Dota 2 team. Usually people say nothing. And then just queue for the next game, but yeah. Hi, Alan. Did that rage guy really just say disrespect because I'm dead? Did he really just say that? The fuck's wrong with that kid? Got Ancient 4. Wah wah. Tokido? I vaguely remember you, I think. Oh man. Holy shit, look at this graph. That was a really good game. Oh, I had 500 GPM? Damn. I outfarmed Zeus. I need a better lineup. Let me call my teammates and get back in the time machine. Hey, can you guys fucking pick a better team? Actually, I'm not so sure that there's anything wrong with our lineup. Dota Plus thinks that the lineup's very even. Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't think it's the lineup that was the reason why we lost. Maybe we should have put me mid against the Invoker after Invoker hit around 6. And then we put Zeus in the off lane. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Because this Zeus, he kept dying to like Tornado, Cold Snap, Tornado, Meteor. And there wasn't too much he could do about it. Whereas if I were to get hit by the same thing, I could just simply leap out of it. Like there's nothing that Invoker can do to kill me. So if we had just put me mid, once Invoker hits around level 6, I would not have died to the same combo. And then we put Zeus in the off lane, and then he can farm safely there with like, let's say the Ogre or something like that. Thanks, Ryu. Hopefully next match will be a win. It's harder to be banned in a stream that literally appreciates viewers than it is not to be banned, and yet here we are. I need to read that sentence again. It's harder to be banned in a stream that literally appreciates viewers than it is to not be banned, and yet here we are. I see. So he's saying he's really pushing it. It was just that the Void and Invoker were really fed, and some bad players also had an A hand. Yes. BS no radiance equals slow farm. So, I don't know, you guys keep blaming item builds, but I'm not so sure it's the item build. Remember, item build is like the lowest form of critique. Hit a lot of crowd control for wars. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, we have Pudge. Like, Pudge actually counters Face's Void. You have to remember that. Remember that because Pudge can hook whoever is chronoed, right? And we could have bought Eon discs, etc. I don't know. Pudge had a BKB, yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, maybe Zeus needed an Eon disc. He opted for the Eul's Blink. I don't know. I wonder if Zeus just buy BKB. By the way, I'm not so sure that Bloodseeker should buy Radiance here, because like one of the biggest reasons why you buy Radiance is to stop blink daggers, right? I mean, Urshika doesn't really care because he buys eggs, right? He can enchant Totem regardless if you're burning him with Radiance or not. Void doesn't have blink, Invoker doesn't have blink, so they don't really care about the Radiance burn. They're also not so dependent on right clicking, so that faces Void. When he chronos, he's just gonna BKB anyway, so it's not like you're stopping him from right clicking during chrono, right? Yeah, they just pretty sure Radiance is not a good item. Oh, I'm safely in carry this time.
Your turn to ban. Five seconds left.
Okay, let's do this.
Your pick now. Me
Fucking Kira is a Kira, yeah.
Huh?
I don't take hero suggestions in ranked, guys. Good job, Doctor. Oh fuck! Treant! Anyways, if you guys want to get really good at Dota 2, stop critiquing item builds. Like usually at this level, like people are really good at building items. But if you really want to understand this game to a deeper level though, criticize the draft. Criticize vision. Criticize where people play on the map. Those are the skills that are way more in-depth than item builds. A lot of times item builds, like most of the time item builds, it's just a preference. Like you know, vanilla ice cream versus strawberry ice cream. And it just changes how you play. So if I go Atos and Mirana, then I can get the arrow cooldown talent, you know. But last game I was concerned for damage, so I went a right click build. And it worked out really well, right? It almost saved us from losing the game. Anyways, warding is actually so philosophical. Like when a person puts down a ward, like there's a lot of meaning behind wards. So if you can criticize wards, that shows a lot. But yeah, I mean, if you say something like, "Oh, build Manta style or and Mjolnir, easy game," like okay, do you really think that if I just bought Mjolnir that game, we would have won just so easily?
Okay, your pick now. You know what to do.
What does Orange want to play? What? Oh fuck! Jesus Christ!
10 seconds.
It's Kunkka, huh?
Your pick now. Meepo. What? Huh? Ten seconds. 5 seconds left.
I'm playing Drow. So that is mid tiny offlane. So that Razor is gonna fuck. And he's gonna fuck hard. Hmm. 29 reasons to keep going. Let's see here. Thanks, Matt Sharan.
I quiver with
Thanks, Koljeet.
It's in the bag.
Fortune and glory away.
Silent as mist.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks to Rush. Thanks, Racho. So I'm pretty sure I need. Actually, what items do I need? I need Hurricane Pike, probably. Which I'm not really sure. Like in this game, it's some of you guys are gonna be like, you need Dragonlance, you need Chandelier, you need BKB, you need Manta Style. Like, yeah, I do need a lot of those things. You need eggs, you need Mjolnir, blah 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 blah. Yep. Hey, you can right click really good with me.
30 seconds.
Miranda, you might want to go more right clicky. Razor.
Agreed.
I need a donation.
Very well.
Pay attention.
So scared.
Now. The battle
Way
started.
ahead of me. I'm not. I'm taut. I'm ready to fly.
First blood.
First blood.
We're back, okay?
It was ours all along. Onward.
Oh boy, come on.
My bow is drawn. Good enough. That is my
Nice
thought.
job, buddy.
My sentiments as well. To battle. So be it. Silent as mist.
Radiant's courier is dead.
God damn it.
Wonder what idiot got it.
To battle.
I'll just go home.
Okay.
Feel the bite of frost. Yes.
Uncle, drop your items, I'll bring it to you.
My
Thanks, man.
sentiments as well. Very well.
You're gonna need a sentry, okay?
Yeah.
Forward.
Who wants the Wraith Man?
Good enough. Arrow, fly. Arrow, fly. Denied.
Double mid? What the fuck?
So be it. That was my thought. I go in silence.
Report more, thank you. Oh, they're arguing, are they?
My bow is drawn.
What the fuck? My circlet.
Way ahead of you.
You forgot my circlet, bro.
Wait, what? Oh, I didn't even see it.
That's fine.
Very well.
Fucking treant.
To battle. That was my thought.
Stop clicking it! What the fuck?
Forward. I go in silence. Bite frost. As deep as forest shade. Silent as mist.
In the top.
Agreed. So be it. Quiver. Yes. My bow is drawn.
Not so fast.
My sentiments as well. Good enough. Way ahead.
Oh my god.
Yikes.
A tree.
Worth.
That should help.
Worth.
Double kill.
Onward.
No.
Back into the fray. To battle. My sentiments as well. I go in silence. Silent as mist. Yes. I'll cut a knot. Denied.
You fucking shit! I hate tree
My
players.
bow
I hate
is
them.
drawn.
I hate them.
Forward.
Did they do one?
Very well.
Yes, they did.
Good enough. Way ahead of you. Agreed. Arrow fodder. Onward. That was my thought. So be it.
Illusion!
That was my thought.
Razor TP bottom tier 1.
To battle. Silent as mist.
Saw that coming.
Agreed.
Morphling TP bottom.
Lagging hard as fuck.
Death comes silent.
Fucking shit.
Amateur. My sentiments as well.
What's with the quelling blade? Can someone explain to him what I've been doing this entire game?
Very well.
Silence.
Nice job.
You put it out of your mind.
Oh my god, this fucking tree!
Yes. A day's wage. Forward. Way ahead of you. So be it.
Morphling's griefing, man. Actually, Morphling was one of the bigger reasons why I picked Drow, because like you can right-click right through his armor.
My bow is drawn.
Eight knots and full ahead.
Not enough money.
Nice.
Arrow, find your target.
Killing spree.
I think we won this game, Chris. What the?
Coming.
I'm good. I'm out of here.
Good enough.
The fuck did that come from?
So be it.
Look, the enemy's attacking your middle tower. Don't let him do that. Best thing about the enemy
10-minute runes. 10-minute runes.
Your bottom tower is
3,
under
4.
There's two
Our
bottoms.
fate is sealed.
Bounty.
Into the fray.
Do I want Dragonlance? I'm debating it, but I'm not sure that I do want it.
My second.
I know what you're thinking. Oh, it makes you safer to farm. Hit from longer distance. I get that, but I'm not sure that I want it.
My bow is drawn.
You better push on over to your bottom tower. Rally the troops and get over there.
Forward.
We have Ravage.
Killing spree. Dominate.
Nice job.
Double kill.
Good enough. Stand and deliver. That was my
If your
thought.
mid tower could talk, it'd be pretty mad at you.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
If your mid tower could talk, it'd be pretty mad at you. Enemy's bottom tower's gone.
Keep pushing.
Nice,
They're
right?
too weak.
Feel my cold embrace. Attack. Silent as mist.
The enemy's bottom tower has fallen.
I go in
Push mid.
silence. Yes. Way ahead of you.
Killing spree.
Feel the bite of frost. Ice shall
Enemy's
meet
middle
my
tower
enemies.
just turned into a
No!
pile of rocks.
Anyway, so I'm going X, guys, and you guys are probably like, what the
Very
fuck?
well.
Because I can go X because I can. And I'm going to get a lot of farm. And it's going to be great.
Way ahead of you. To battle. Silent.
Dominate.
Eggs Mjolnir? Yeah, we might have to, we might do that. Ah, you fucking cunt.
Enough. Uh-huh. Arrow, find your target. Yes.
You know, I'm gonna stay down here. I wasn't sure I was gonna push for my team, but I think they're so scared of my team that I don't need to do anything like that.
Your fate is sealed.
How the fuck did he know?
Bow is strong. Onward.
Oh shit.
Vanish. My
Oh, Miranda's paying attention to me. Good. Good.
That was my thought.
Okay, you guys can think of eggs like a Midas, okay? It gives you lots of farm, right?
Agreed. Into the fray.
Sometimes you buy items just to excel yourself and farm more quickly. And I'm pretty sure this game's over. Like, this game is so over.
My bow is drawn.
Yeah, eggs like Drow Battlefield. That's a good comparison. So I'm just buying because I know that I can, and it'll secure a late game if it even exists.
Good enough.
The enemy's top barracks has fallen.
I go inside.
The enemy's top barracks has fallen.
Arrow, fly.
Your bottom tower is under attack.
Arrow, fly.
Your bottom tower is under attack. You and a couple of friends probably found that.
Okay.
Enemy's middle tower has fallen. Ooh, your bottom tower's kind of bad.
Attack.
The enemy's middle barracks has fallen. You better poof on over to your bottom tower. The enemy's middle barracks has fallen. Lot better ventilation now. Ask any Greek. Your bottom tower has fallen.
GG guys. I mean, it's not really GG to be honest. More like a easy G. Good job.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen. I like these troublemakers.
Onward.
I actually have a button to turn on autocast, but I keep forgetting to use it. Do I mean EG? Yeah, EG. Yeah, EG.
This couldn't have ended any other.
Wow, I wish all my games. Oh, this is a calibration game, so it means even more. Hurrah! Plus 75? Please, Gavin, give that to me. Thank you. Five games remaining. New game. We're either gonna be 4 or we're gonna be 1. You wish all your games were under 20 minutes, Matt? What if all your games were under 20 minutes, but you lose all of them? My MMR! Guess it's time to came name to EG. Came that name. I am support.
Ooh, you get to ban someone.
Blue D put Q on auto cased.
5 seconds left.
I didn't get that reference. If all enemies through it, you guys have a lot of MMR, but you didn't deserve it. And a lot of other people would get like, your games just wouldn't even be fun. So I actually like it the way it is. Do I put Q in autocast? Sometimes I do, Benit.
10 seconds. 5 seconds left.
Ricky. Boop, boop, boop. Actually, this guy is perfect. Literally perfect. Ricky, motherfucker! Wait for Slaughter. I don't care, Slaughter. I saw a streamer saying Ricky players are cunts. Who said that? Ricky players are amazing. They're precious jewels in the community of Dota 2. And should be highly respected and regarded. All Ricky players.
Your pick now.
Oh, this is the same guy from last game. He was the Rubik from last game too. Galacus. Ricky first pick. That's a bold move. They say only the players with the biggest balls can just first pick Ricky like that. I don't know what you guys think, but I just heard this expression, but
And his name is Johnson!
look, they don't even pick Bounty Hunter or Slaughter.
Yeah, who am I kidding?
I know what you guys are thinking. Like, you guys always have the same logic. You're like, ah, bro, they're gonna pick Zeus, Bounty Hunter, Slaughter. I'm like, okay. I don't care. I don't care. I just assume that they can see me anyways.
Your pick. This is where you win.
Really good Ricky players just assume that they can be seen, but they somehow find a way to be really annoying anyways. You know what I mean? I don't really know how I do it, but I do it. Sometimes things don't be like it do, but it does.
Smoke weed every day.
Yeah, I'll get inside these guys, alright. I like to come in from behind and go inside. Hey! Good sound effect. Lulu. Thank you.
At your service. Silent as smoke.
I can put down the words if you want.
Prepare for battle.
Yeah, I need our tango. Actually, you too.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. I give you Tango. Where do you want your ward? I can put it down for you.
Were you Mirana last game, Ricky?
No, I was Drow. There was no Miranda last game, was there?
Yeah, we had a Mirana, dude.
Did we? Oh, right, the 4 Miranda. No, I was Drow. No, we were landing together.
Yeah.
You forgot my circlet.
Yeah, right. Bruh, no, like I was walking, it wasn't there. After I left.
Pretty sure I bought them one right after the other at the same time and dropped them at the same time.
Oh man,
Feeling fresh?
probably didn't register. I don't know.
There.
Here?
Yeah, that could be great.
Okay.
So.
Feeling the PMA this game, guys. Hopefully it doesn't turn toxic. Last week it was really bad. Like we'd start off like super, hey guys, how's it going? Oh yeah, let's work together. Yeah, well played. And then 10 minutes into the game, fuck you, fucking piece of shit. No, it's fucking listen to me. Blah 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 blah. I'm fucking done. And Akaben. You can't wait 4 minutes. Lulu liked that reference. People who don't come in from behind didn't like that reference. Who's celebrity what? Wild Turkey! Thanks for subscribing.
Okay.
I think everyone here remembers what happened last week. It was a dark and miserable time.
Oh, look, it's me.
You also toxic, bro? That's true. I was a little toxic, but I was never toxic first. And as you can see, look, my my conduct summary is so high, right? Try Southeast Asia server and lag. Why the fuck would I do that? Hey, you want to lag? You want to play Dota and lag really bad? Yeah, I fucking love it, bro. Yeah.
Awfully sleepy.
It's in
Playing this
the
game.
bag.
Stop it. You're making me sleepy too.
At your service.
I was gonna nap, and I saw my computer. And it was over.
Okay, you place a word somewhere, I guess. Yeah.
You definitely placed the word somewhere.
30 seconds to battle. But feel free to start killing before that. We're not
No, he doesn't have one.
Place one. Hey, there could be a sentry, I think. Like you walking.
What the fuck?
Is he feeding?
He's walking towards it.
Hello? Probably feeding.
As you bid. Yes. I always wanted to see an ancient.
No, I'm late for this rune.
Yeah, that stuff's over
Oh well.
Don't make me come over there.
So it was Leshrak who was mid.
I got a sentry.
I go inside.
I don't think he plays anything. Or, I don't know, whatever.
He moved his tango, so maybe that was part of his mind games.
Yeah.
Scam. Big scam.
Alright, I didn't find anything.
Oh, outplayed.
Yeah, see, I told you.
He fucking told ya. He told you so.
Our support knows how to ward.
Why don't you have any sentry?
Quietly now.
Cause Ember took the fucking courier, it's on the way.
The support knows how to ward.
Since you put it like that.
Yes. It's on the way.
Okay. Alright, my bad.
Yes.
Nice.
My hooves run.
Oh shit! Block, motherfucker!
No sound.
Damn, that was perfect. I played perfect. Ricky, motherfucker! You wanna put down that sentry, motherfucker?
Where was the sentry?
You think I care? Whoa.
Yeah, I'll check.
Come on, you guys can't use career like that.
Sorry.
Dispatched.
Gannicus!
As you bid.
Get ready, you calling?
Well, trying to pull.
Feel my steel. Fins off. Yes. Killing spree!
Blade. Ice uses.
Got him! Easy!
We better win this game or I fucking break my computer.
Don't worry, we'll throw soon.
Fucking Gaben. I win 18 MMR. I lose 31. What the fuck is this shit?
My cunning grows. At your service.
I'm taking courier top. They keep dewarding.
Since you put it like that.
Just get dust. We'll kill him with dust. Fuck the sentry.
Here I am. Yes.
That's 3 bottom.
Oh yes.
Oh, even this guy has a sentry.
Bye bye, motherfucker. Oh, he's here. He ate the fucking ward. Alright, I'll buy the fucking dust.
Post haste. Silent as smoke.
Oh, I see a creep.
Quiet as a cat's feet.
Kara Centaur. I don't have smoke cloud yet.
You even watching your top tower? Yes.
No! No!
Seeing too.
Oh, my perfect play.
Banner run.
I'm coming back bottom center.
That last hit didn't go so well. Yes.
A bounty.
Silent as smoke.
Where the fuck's the sentry?
Death's bounty.
Wait, this guy's still alive.
Oh, I think it's here.
See you later.
You, my friend, got owned. Quiet as cat's feet.
Hey, Ember, I'm middle, and I see you're almost 6.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you want that?
I want to kill him.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Can I shout ladder? Of course. Of course you can.
Silence him like.
My skill set is narrow, but very sharp. Dispatched.
Full ahead, dude.
Okay.
I die untamed.
Oh.
Quietly now. Post haste.
Flash missile.
Needed assets. Killing spree!
What the fuck is he doing?
Man.
Okay.
Oh man, he's raging.
Like a whisper.
I'm gonna grab my items on the way here.
Whom shall I kill?
What's Centaur doing, dude?
As you bid.
I think he's just jungling now.
I got your sentry! Dude, this is so annoying! Boop.
Post haste.
It's fuck. Thank God I bought this quelling blade. Oh shit! He doesn't. Does he have something?
Since you put it like that.
By the way, Ernswell, I'm not a mid player, dude. So.
Quiet as cat's feet. I kill. At your service.
Oh fuck.
Careful, Lich missing.
No, I don't feel like buying more sentries. So.
Oh, how I strike.
Yo, I don't know.
Dominate.
Probably not happy about this.
Hey, Centaur, I think they'll probably rotate top soon, and you can take this lane. Because I don't really want it.
Is it worth your life?
Well, he has dust now. They fucking hate me.
I sprint. Quickly.
Fuck you! Stop it!
Stuck in some camps a little bit.
Okay.
I go in silence.
Oh man, I'm so close to 6.
Quietly now.
Coming back in, monkey.
I'm not ready. Oh, look, it's me.
Oh, going right into my ultimate, motherfucker! Ah! Oh man.
Just
Trickster's rune of illusion.
Mandarins are up.
your top tower needs some help.
I need someone to get top.
I can TP there, maybe. Not up for another 7 though.
I'll take the regen.
Come on, please. Oh, okay, you can ball it.
Through the bottle, let's go.
Rally the troops together.
No! Oh, my tome! Oh, it's gone anyways.
Radiant called in the fortification. See no evil.
Going back for Slack, he doesn't have an ulti. Let's go.
We're taking it.
Go.
Unstoppable! Oh, as you did.
Right here.
Here I am.
The fuck is it? God damn it.
Post haste.
Finally.
Yeah, boombuster.
Quietly now.
I have too many items, dude.
There's a sentry here.
I fight. Killing spree! Quickly.
Fuck! Stop it! He did that last game too.
Just cat's feet. Like a whisper. Silent as smoke.
Wanna kill him?
What are we doing? I don't know if we have damage, really.
I could do this.
I'm coming.
Okay.
As you bid. your service. And over here we have your middle tower. Now be in there.
Nice.
Go in silence.
I'm gonna try anyone.
Quickly, quickly. Yes. The enemy's top tower is falling.
Oh, I almost have Vlads. Might as well just buy it now. Vlads, and then what do we buy next? Maybe we can transition to carry a bit.
Radiant structures are fortified. Oh yes.
I need a creep for TP money.
Silent as smoke.
I'm back for Sand King. Watch out, wait.
We don't have detection though. Just saying.
I have.
Okay, great.
See no evil. I'm under. Whom shall I?
Nice. I got the last hit again.
Like a whisper.
Ricky, motherfucker.
Buy some dust, Ricky.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh, I can buy more, but I just want to buy the quick blacking bar.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
As you bid.
Oh, perfect timing! You're probably angry about that, eh, bro? Drums. I don't want to go drums.
I go in silence.
Why would I buy drums? Oh shit, I'm dead.
I'm dead.
What do you think about defusal? I mean, if I'm transitioning to carry Ricky, defusal is definitely good. Oh, I need to buy dust. Go like this. Oh, this guy's in trouble.
The people talk.
Quietly now.
I go meme hammer. That might be kind of fun.
Here I am.
A tool to teach.
Coming.
Okay. Oh my god, come on.
Nice counting.
Our center's not there, by the way.
Enemy's bottom tower has fallen.
You just go.
Pretty good move if you ask me. The top tower is under attack.
This'll come in handy.
I need some kind of item. That's a choke? Which part did I choke on?
Let me take another stab at this.
Okay, blink dagger yet?
Get up, get up, get out there. It's not time yet.
This guy buys tons of sentries, huh? Hey, I have dust, Monkey King. I'm coming.
Dispatch.
I'm here.
He left already.
Oh yeah?
Your top tower is under attack.
Damn, what the fuck? Where the fuck did he go?
Quiet as cat's feet.
I found it.
Oh, okay, I'm coming back.
It's me. Yes, smoke in your eye.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
I sprint. Quickly, quickly.
Stealth, please.
Alright, good.
Yeah, hook me up.
I go in silence.
Almost have my blacking bar.
Nice.
Silent as smoke.
Hmm.
You
have
should,
ice
you
blast
should get
before.
your diffusal.
Okay.
Maybe you can kill supports.
Let's track him. There's his top.
Oh, look, it's me.
Shit, I want to take it and go and fight.
Boom.
If only got the haste rune. Oh.
Nah, you die anyways.
No, like I would have ran away. Like.
Yeah. Oh shit! The stun.
Killing spree. Killing spree.
Oh fuck! That's throw.
Really fucking bad. I don't have my ultimate, I don't have blacking bar. Why do we go there?
Are you scared him?
Shit. Get my blacking bar. 400 gold away, and then we can kill anybody.
Yeah, I really don't think drums. I really don't think drums.
Probably dead.
Dominate. Quietly now.
Runes are almost up. I'll try to get the top runes.
Let's kill somebody top. We can probably kill them top.
Okay.
No evil.
There's a sentry here. There's a sentry here.
On top of the little ward spot, you mean?
Post haste.
Yeah.
Okay.
I dewarded, and they dewarded after.
Never refuse gold.
Bid.
Fight with a DD.
Yes.
I'm coming mid.
Oh, as you bid. I sprint. Since you put it like that.
Ricky, motherfucker.
Dyer's doing that glowy thing. Not to do it till that's done. Whom shall I kill?
Hey, I don't.
Fuck.
Target.
Ruby, just leave somebody up. What are you doing, man?
I'm trying to read.
Killing spree.
Oh my god.
And I'm dead too. Fuck you.
Oh, here it comes.
So fucking retarded. This is crazy.
Your bottom
I just
tower
used
is under
the
attack.
fade wall.
What do you mean your bottom tower's gone?
And look at Juicy Farm.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Man, you need a dogger. 22 minutes. Come on, man.
A dog or what?
I've been here the whole time. Your middle
I'm trying to cut them off from behind. I don't know if we can do it.
5 seconds until I'm dead.
the top tower needs some help.
I guess not. Come top, maybe. Defend top with
They
the...
have sentry here? How do I get hit by this?
Watch out, Ash Blast.
Ignite is disjointed.
Tower is under attack. Dig in and defend that sucker. stronger. At your service.
Yeah, we need that dagger.
Attack. Quiet as a cat's feet.
What? I'm fucking lagging. Holy fuck! It's just about to press my ult. I lag, dude. He's tilting. Maybe we just need some BKBs. He can't even remnant out.
I wasn't dead, just invisible.
Yeah, Dredge, games are good today.
It's me. Your top tower is under attack.
Maybe we need to split until Ember gets BKB and Centaur gets Blink.
Defenders, come on. Send out BKB. If you send out Blink Dagger, we can go defend it, okay? He doesn't just forget about it.
Quickly.
I'm gonna attack him.
Ooh, great BKB. Oh yeah, we win team fight. Sound of detection.
What the?
Both your supports are dead.
The detection, boys. Somebody, please.
Never refuse gold given.
Fuck, I gotta piss, man. I need to fuse the need really bad. I don't think that I do. I know that you think that if I get diffuses, suddenly I become this monster killing type of, you know, super scary hero, but that's not true. So once I get diffusal, I will go from doing an okay amount of damage to just a little bit more damage, because it's going to be like 30 minutes when I get diffusal blade, right? So it's honestly not that scary.
Whom shall I kill? What do you go as you bid? Here I am.
Anyways, I just need to land some 6 smokes.
Death's bounty. Yes. Oh yes. Yes.
I'm scared, man.
Quickly. I go in silence. Since you put it like that.
Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh no, it's not me.
Oh, the Centaur.
Silent like smoke. Oh look, it's me. Whom shall I kill?
Can they do Roshan quickly?
Cash on delivery.
They have Leshrac.
Peekaboo.
Don't don't buy Crimson Guard. Just get a 4-star for yourself so that you can save your ass. We don't need Crimson. There's only one guy that hits with a hand. Slark, and Crimson's not.
Maybe you can get a 4-star.
Yeah, eggs is good for sure.
Get a 4-star.
Probably get eggs.
Does 4-star break pounds?
Silent as smoke.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's like such important information to know.
As you did.
Oh, this ogre's got a gem.
I sprint.
That'll be a good big kill if we do get him.
Well, you need to put the dust in your inventory if you want to kill him, instead of a killing blade.
Protect the ward. Protect the ward.
Dispatched. Quietly now.
I don't know what item to use.
Quickly.
No, I only want brown boots, guys. Honestly.
Here I am.
You guys want to come mid and fight?
Yeah,
Yeah,
fight
I'm
up.
coming. Bait on Centaur.
Like a whisper.
Real Leshrax top, I think.
Yeah.
Smoke, come on.
Come on. Up here. They have a ward other side.
Post
Oh,
haste.
okay.
I find someone now.
Quietly now.
Okay.
Quick hit. Post haste.
What do we do, Roshan?
My cunning grows.
They don't have ult for AA anyways. Yeah.
Team monkey.
I'm gonna push out mid.
Ooh, your bottom tower's kind of bad.
Alright.
Your shot's dead. You ever been underneath this pit?
Careful there.
Lash TP.
Service.
Oh, I'm getting scared looking at this guy. Oh, he has BKB, so should be okay.
I go in silence. Coin for me. Quickly. I sprint. Oh, look, it's me. See no evil.
Do make another smoke in
How's the
when
gel?
I get the
Put it like that.
money for the abyssal. We got another smoke. Gotta kill somebody again.
Dispatched.
Why don't we just take all their tier 2 towers?
Quickly.
Push bottom.
Quiet as cat's feet. Death's bounty. Yes.
Oh, that's huge.
Fuck off.
Killing spree. Double kill.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Dominate. Triple kill.
Take tier 2. Maybe to a 3-2 buy them for buyback.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen. I guess they built on a fault line. Radiant structures are fortified. Dire structures are fortified.
From blaze to inferno.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
Too close, don't get too close. Careful, Sank.
Your top tower needs some help.
Take
Okay,
it,
we
take
get
it.
back a little. Come on, come on.
Seeing is believing.
I'm gonna come back, let's go.
Send and deliver.
I got mopping. We better go.
Help me, somebody.
Whom shall I kill?
Oh boy. He's dead. I'm just gonna go farm top.
Oh, we shouldn't even fight there. After thanking well back.
Yeah, I had nothing either.
Here I am, fastest blade in the land. Silent as smoke.
Guys, even if I was here like 20 seconds earlier, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Services rendered.
Actually, should I just be running back? Yeah, I should run back just in case they actually push mid. Also, you guys are making a lot of assumptions on how far the bathroom is from my my office. Right.
Quiet as cat's feet. Your middle tower's under attack. Quickly, quickly. Your middle tower has fallen. Quickly. The middle barracks are under attack. Your middle barracks are looking.
Oh, they can't get the melee rack, I guess.
The middle barracks has fallen.
Go for a kick.
Watch out, A blast. He has nothing.
Death on delivery.
Oh.
As you bid.
The gym over. Nah, get a death.
Am I dead?
That's everyone.
Aura,
Am I
take
fucking
the
dead?
aura, you're gonna have less damage. Oh my god. Why you not using pipe so he leaves Centaur?
Help your teammates.
This is fucked up. This guy is brain dead. Unfucking real.
Yeah, I guess I could have survived that.
I'm muting you, fuck you.
Alright, I already had him muted. Once again, even if I was at this fight 20 seconds earlier,
Yes, well,
it wouldn't have changed a thing. Man, you guys don't know shit. Besides, I was dead for a lot of that. Remember, I have to TP here and then I have to walk all the way to the fight, right?
He's about to be up.
With my brown boots.
Just invisible.
Damn, you guys don't know shit.
Quietly now. So the enemy just denied it.
Trying to get bottom rack, bottom tier 2.
You need to go for shrines first.
Oh, as you bid.
kill Sen King, maybe. Rock's there, sir.
I sprint. Whom shall I kill?
Holy shit, man. You only killed AA after all that? Your blink dagger, what the?
Just one.
Says almost 25.
They're so fat.
Still playable, come on. Stay positive.
Yeah, game's not over.
Fine, long as that top tower don't fall. Oh, wait, somebody got
Ember 100% does not need Battle Fury. Damn, dude! A lot of your suggestions are really bad. Battle Fury? Oh my god! Is this 2016?
He died back, check the Roche.
See no evil.
Alright, I'll just go ahead and grab it. I mean, we don't really need it that bad, like, right? Whatever.
Shed.
Oh, look, it's me.
3820 Roshan.
3 of them don't have buyback, pretty sure.
The rune of regeneration.
Take shrines for now.
Here I am. Silent as smoke.
I'm gonna see if I can grab these bottom bounty runes in time.
The enemy's top shrine has fallen. No more sanctuary here.
Do they still have a gem?
Yes.
No, it was dropped in our base.
Death's bounty.
Unlucky find.
Post haste. Your bottom tower is under attack. You fool. See here.
Here, Ricky, he has that. For this area, come on.
Like that.
What did he say?
Oh, wait for everyone, we need Ricky.
Alright, I'm coming.
See no evil.
Show yourself in the lane so they don't think we're rushing.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing right now. Careful, they may smoke, okay? They may smoke. See Stark. TA.
Slack has no buyback, he just spent money.
They have no idea.
Why did you just use the pipe?
Kill this motherfucker. Oh, never mind. I'm here right now.
As you bid.
Can I have this farm, Rubik?
There was a ward up here somewhere. Where is the ward? Come.
Dispatched.
You see the ward up here? Come here.
Quick steel. Like a
Here,
whisper.
check here.
Can we get bottom tower and bottom shrine before we go high ground, please? Thanks. Like, yeah, you don't have to fight there.
Now.
Let's go shrine.
We need to camp here, I think. It's the better way we got words. If they show up, we can kill them.
Yes. Double damage in power space. I go in silence.
Just stay together.
Careful, I'm gonna head in bottom.
I'm still in our jungle farming eggs. Real close.
Deceptive rune of invisibility.
The enemy's bottom shrine has fallen. Quickly.
Okay, I got it. I'm coming over.
Quiet as cat's feet. At your service. Yes.
Yeah, play against that centaur, right? Yeah, he's tanky as fuck.
Post haste. Shall I kill?
Do we have smoke? Oh, we have a smoke.
25 power for that extra hoof storm.
Yeah, guys, sweet power. You won't be missed. Quickly, quickly.
You wanna come mid, and then I'll use my ulti. We push mid, and then
I think someone will show up top in a sec.
Silent as smoke.
All right, let's go check.
I'm gonna push out mid lane.
Yeah, LOGITECH's up here.
He's gonna TP.
Oh, he just TP'd with a
Cut to the
fucking...
quick. Dispatched. I go in silence.
We found him! We found him!
I don't think it's buyback.
Dead on the dotted line.
Industry.
I think Sanching has a
Bid. Like a whisper.
Let's go push.
Flames will spread thrice.
At your service. Oh yes.
Wait, I'll hit mid. Yep, by the way.
I fucking...
Okay. I don't get it, man. I truly don't. It's like,
Like that.
I need to blink to someone.
Why were we, what?
I mean,
That should help.
you can't just jump.
Hey, Ruben, can I blink to you? Can you come back?
Oh shit. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay.
Didn't think they were chasing. Like we don't have vision up there. I don't know why we dive.
Yeah, I think that was Monkey King's fault.
I don't have.
I can buy back here.
Maybe. No, I mean, I'm saving for buyback. I can get a silver. Maybe Ricky. Maybe Ricky. Give the gym to Ricky, I guess. He has a corner blade.
I have 1 minute on buyback.
Evil.
What the fuck, man?
Your middle barracks are under attack. Quickly.
This is shit,
You'll
dude.
be sorry if they fall. If you wanted your middle barracks to not fall, you're doing it wrong. Silence. I sprint.
Hmm.
You have cheese.
Oh, as you bid.
Ricky, sell your stick.
Yes, ma'am.
Quickly.
When you're dead and you have nothing else to do.
Me. Defend yourself.
We need like armor reduction. So could someone get an AC?
Since you
Got a
put it like
silver?
that.
I think you should back soon.
Yeah, Leech has hacks, okay? Careful. I don't think he has buyback. He bought back last time.
Quietly now.
You can get a Lotus. Yeah, Lotus.
Lotus would be good, I think. As
You
long
only
as
have.
time to roll. That SK stun, Ogre stun, this.
So if I bought Basher, I mean, what do I put down? Quelling Blade?
Watch out, no vision. I'm so dead.
Before Rubik, we can smoke.
Haste, silent as smoke. Whom shall I kill?
I'm so scared, guys.
Take that. Take that, take that.
Here I am.
What are we doing?
I have buyback.
I'm just looking for wards.
At your service.
I'm gonna put one up here.
Okay, I'm running over a gem.
So.
Quiet as cat's feet.
Can't find him. I have a double damage. Okay, he popped his OD.
Where am I?
Fucking dead.
Kara.
We should go.
Back. I said get out. I don't have buyback. Please get out. I don't have buyback.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Do this.
Like a whisper.
Let's stay far behind.
Yeah, I was like right here.
Silent as smoke.
Like, dove all the way here.
Hey, bounty runes, Monkey King. Okay. Oh.
Sand King's
You got
getting
careful.
next, by the way.
Death's bounty.
Watch out!
I am mighty.
He's dead.
Assassins never die. They just fade away.
Shit, they took the gem.
We have another one in base.
It's not there anymore.
Ricky, I can't take it.
No buyback on Ricky.
Your top tower is under attack. Dire structures are fortified.
Pay for this. Looks like I'm going to have to teach
I can fuck.
Yeah, we're gonna do shit.
Top barracks are under attack. Your top barracks ain't nothing no more.
I mean,
Your top barracks ain't nothing no more.
Ooh. Can you pipe? Do you have pipe? Ember's getting hit by
Killing spree.
Oh, that's it.
Ember, I'm gonna TP to the shrine in a sec.
Attacking your middle tower.
Action.
Trying to knock down your middle tower. This is one of the things in the bad company.
bathed in searing heat.
Centaur's coming. He's almost there. Ember has gem. Let's actually be TPing in. Care.
I'm back. He runs just so fucking fast.
Oh shit!
Middle tower is under attack. Do something about it, or just sit there looking funny.
Damn it, Rubik, why?
It's all in there.
My bad, I thought they went back.
Your top shrine is under attack. Your top shrine has fallen.
I think I'm gonna buy. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm gonna buy this basher and not have buyback.
Your middle tower is under attack. Oh, there better be something important going on.
Yeah, good idea. Oh, that's gonna be big. I think I'm gonna buy this basher as well, but I won't have buyback. But let's hope for some lucky bashes.
Like, the bottom shrine is under attack.
Like, hopefully they BKB inside the ring, so it's wasted, and I'll try to jump back in.
Bottom shrine is under attack.
Well, I can't do anything from the back, but they're all BKB'd. I can't reach the back line either.
Okay, this is big.
There's two bottom.
I think I'll get inside the centaur, I guess.
The bottom shrine has fallen.
Just need more damage, you know.
As you bid.
Oh wait, there's a gem here. Why don't I grab that?
They're all missing.
They're gonna go for Russian right now. They are actually doing it right now.
Oh shit.
Just like I said. Now it's gonna be
Quiet as cat's feet.
Yeah, I say let's go smoke.
See no evil.
Clearly.
go, 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 go.
Oh no, I got hexed! No, the stun is too long! No! I got it all! Oh, did we just fucking win?
Killing spree! Double kill!
My god.
Let Ember do the split pushing.
Like a whisper.
Oh man, I got that off, man. I got it off.
I lag like half that fight.
Your bottom tower, it's
Dude, I was so close to dying. Like they hexed me and there's like a 4-second stun, but I got it off. Oh Jesus Christ.
I was lagging as he epicentered and burrow strike. Oh my god. I just spammed duels.
I think we go down mid, don't we?
you better puff on over to
Yeah, we just go down mid. I think we can end it.
Let's go. I'm gonna use
They don't have medic
6 seconds. Just wait. Push this and then I'm gonna use mid and then we're gonna go down.
Okay.
We don't have bad back to start the game.
My tricks trades really fast. Just don't die, Fountain.
Alright,
We won. We fucking won. We fucking won. Yeah, I know.
Just wanna make sure.
Good game. This game went longer than expected.
We fucking won. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. Yeah, if I died in that Roshan fight, the game probably would have been over. I had this guy pre-muted, but fuck it, let's just commit. I think he was probably being toxic. I think he was being toxic, but I just couldn't hear it. Oh my god, what a beautiful line! Wow! That's amazing! I wanna play Ode to Joy again! Beautiful game, Dota 2, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever said Ember must make battle for you. What the fuck? That build's from 2016. Whew! That was unfortunately the last game of today, guys. Does anyone have any questions or comments? I got some things I gotta do today, so we'll be back tomorrow. And we will stream probably longer. Oh man. I have 99 last hits. Look at my teammates' last hits and then look at mine. Damn, poor ass Ricky. Glad you like the games to watch. Final result for today? Well, let's have a look. Today is 9:25, so 2 wins, 2 losses. So we basically broke even today. 1-1 of core and 1-1 of support. Ricky game was really good. The Miranda game was really good. Juggernaut game was pretty decent. Drow game was just a stomp. I'm 5293 UQ. And rank not count. Oh fuck! Shit! Forgot about that. Well, we lost. That means we're positive. Nice. Good call, Daryl. Yeah, so I guess we're up in MMR for core, and then we're even for support. And I have 5 more core games to go. Actually, have I played 5 core games? What's my record for core? Core. Where's all my fucking core games? Yeah, let's start again. Core? 1. Core? That's 2. 3, 4, 5. Oh shit. I'm 3-2. I mean 2-3. 2 wins, 3 losses. Oh wow. Why did I buy eggs before Basher? So I really like to buy eggs because so how long does dust last? Gosh, dust. Like 12 seconds? Okay, so think about this. Think about this for a second, okay? So dust lasts for 12 seconds, right? But Ricky eggs last 10 seconds. I believe.
I speak softly, but carry a shot.
No, it lasts 9 seconds. Okay, sorry. So Ricky eggs last 9 seconds, but dust lasts 12 seconds. Okay. So really, I just need to stay alive for 3 seconds. Does that make sense? And during that time, I'm blinking around to people. I'm putting down smoke clouds. Hi, Snow Poop. So it's just a really good defensive mechanism. And also, I can combo. Like I can combo. Like I comboed with like the Centaur and the Ember. So I mean, I get a free Uber ride basically. You can even do it when people TP, right? Like someone's TPing, like Ember's like Remnant or something like that, and then you just hop inside Ember, and then yeah, you don't even have to TP. Easy. I think Basher would have been a pretty good item too. I could definitely go Basher, but I just find that I die so easily, you know? Like they always had sentries or gems, so I just die, dude. Like it doesn't matter if I'm in smoke cloud, I just die. At least with eggs, I'm guaranteed 9 seconds of safety. Does that make sense? Hey, Snail Poop, I have things to do today, so unfortunately, sorry, buddy. Does anyone have any more questions or comments? Does that answer your question, Hanif? But yeah, I think if I was a tankier Ricky, let's say that I had gone, if I had a different item build, let's say that I had a Spirit Vessel, Power Treads, or Phase Boots, drums or something like that. Yeah, I can go tanky Ricky and I can go bash and I just run at them with a bash and then bash them, right? But I was Brown Boots, which gives you 0 stats, Vlads, which gives you jack shit. I had Diffusal, which gives you no survivability stats, right? I also had a Quelling Blade and I had Dust, right? So I had not a single survivability item. Does that make sense? Every fucking fight I just go. So at least with eggs, yeah, I get guaranteed 9 seconds. See you later, Wayne. Thanks, buddy. Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. I will be back tomorrow around the same time, so it should be very close to 8 AM Pacific time. So I will see you then, okay? Bye, guys.
And his name